Well, 3 recordings ago, I was pretty excited about this because I spent the whole day working on this lesson, and my desk is full of the screenshots that were used to create this and made it look like your book. Anyways, it's Vanishing Point, and it's using our new software, the CC 2017. And I was all excited, but then all of a sudden things weren't working. And like I said, I've had to re-record several times. So Vanishing Point, it can be wonderful. I don't know if it's just the new software, if I should open up something like CS6 or, it'll work fine or what. But anyways, there's, you've got your basic layer techniques. You're going to create some more complex effects in here. And we're going to use this layer mask, which I've already created it. So I need to back up into, and I overwrote my original. So what I'll do is I'll make it look like my original and turn that back on and just do an Alt backspace because that's what that original used to, not on the box though, oops, Alt backspace, make that look the same. And I'm not re-recording, I'm sorry, I am wasting your time here. Okay, Command D, so this is what it would open like when you see it. It should be like this. This one I'm not writing over the original, the start template, which I sometimes do because I remembered to save it with my name. Okay, so getting started, the very first thing I had you do was, of course, name it so it goes into the right spot. And then I had you collapse these because see how I have to scroll here? And of course I have these big icons also so you guys can see my videos very well. And go ahead and collapse. So again, that will avoid you having to scroll. So just collapse those so you have more real estate here to work with. And that's the next thing it said to do. So you can see about 10 layers at once. And then in the layers panel, you're going to select the checkerboard and turn it on, and it would actually just say checkerboard, not copy. Okay, checkerboard layer, because that's when you open it, it looks like that. Okay, and you're going to go ahead and clip the artwork, just like when you clipped type an image to the type, it's with the clipping mask. That's what you're going to do here. So we've got the checkerboard and we want to turn both those on, and we're going to hover until we get this little symbol, and it talks about it right here. It used to look like this. Now it's a hollow white square with a bent black arrow pointing down. So if I hover in between, you can see I get that little clipper thing. Can you see it? If I even scoot over a little more, maybe. Okay, and you can also right click and say create a clipping mask. I'll hit escape to get out of that box. You can also come up here and say create clipping mask. Okay, and I didn't know that shortcut, and I'm not even gonna bother to do that one, but it's like a group. You're gonna group the two, so it kind of makes sense that Control G would be a regular group and Control Alt G would be the other. So I'm gonna just escape it, and I imagine you would have to probably shift click those two, but anyhow, going ahead and putting Alt, and I've created a clipping mask out of it, and this one indents, this one gets underlined, and it tells you that right here. The one gets indented in the layers panel, and the other one has an underline under it. It looks like that. And we want to merge those two layers, so now I'm going to shift click them, and I know that Control E or Command E will merge them, but I could also say merge layers. I'll escape from that. Again, I could go into the menu. You get the idea. So I know it's Control E though, and so I'll just use Control E. And again, don't include the checkerboard, which I just did. I need to make a copy of that first, and it did tell me to make a copy of it first up here. Duplicate that layer. So Control J before, let's see, even before, okay, so backspace, and even before I clip masked it, and Control J to make a copy of it, and then back here, holding Alt, clipping mask, and it did do it. It just doesn't look like it did it because that one's turned on. Okay, checkerboard and shift click and Command or Control E, and call this checkerboard art. Okay, so we've got checkerboard art and we've got checkerboard copy. Checkerboard art we're going to control click on now, or we can even just say Control All and or Command All if you're on a Mac, and you will get all of the marching ants, and then you can say Control C to copy. Okay, so we did this right here. Control, oh, haven't saved yet. So Control C to copy, Control D to deselect, Control S to save, as long as I'm doing all the control stuff. And then I will turn off its visibility. It's been copied. Target the box layer. And I need to go to the vanishing point, which is up here in filter, vanishing point. But I also notice it's Control Alt, and V, or Command Option V. So I'll escape that and hit that because you're going to be doing this quite a few times. This box looks like we were just in this, it doesn't look like much happened, but if you look, it is a different separate box here, okay? A whole new dialog box opened for Vanishing Point, and I will now go ahead and create the vanishing point. And it talks about here, over here, to grab the plane. It's always by default, once you're in here, it comes to that. And I have found that it will carry over easier if I don't come up here, which I know exactly where to go. But when I try to drag the second side window, it doesn't work. It just goes wanky. So here's the plane. I'm going to hold down my controller command key and then drag this. And this time, see, it is working. The other times you'll see it'll go wanky on you, and I re-recorded and re-recorded. When I release my control button, I can now edit this by bringing that handle up, bringing this handle up, and it tends to only go up or down. It doesn't go sideways. See, I'm trying to move it sideways. It won't. I have to release, and then if I want to move it sideways, I can. At this point, I can get this handle, and I should be able to go up, and that should just about solve my problem there. Okay, so I've got both grids, and for whatever reason, when I paste now, Control V will paste. It's the same as going to Edit Paste. I get the amoeba all right, but when I drag, it tends to only want to go on one side. See, one side or the other, and it's not even going to let me go to the other side. How about that? It won't even let me over there. Interesting. So Control Z, and if I come over here, then will it let me go on this side? Just waiting for it to settle. See, I'm getting all kinds of, this is just so wanky. Okay, so anyhow, it doesn't look right, and I don't like it, and so I would say, you know, reject it. But I'm going to go ahead and delete my, oops, so I'm just gonna, I can't escape because escape just plants that, so I'm going to do that. Then hit my V for the move tool, and it's not letting me get my move tool. Now, why wouldn't it allow the move tool? Well, if I just cancel out and Control Option, or Control Alt and a V again, I get back in, and I just want to make sure. Okay, that is just not going to let me go there. So I'm just going to create this over again and hope that it will let me drag and, okay, so hitting Command, then drag. Oh, see, that's the wanky one. That's the really crazy one. Goes this way or that way, and that's just wrong. So I'm just going to get rid of that again and start this over. But again, I notice if I go down lower and don't try to get that high arch, just kind of go low, everything else can be on target. Then hold down the control of the command key, look at the grid, and the grid's just going straight. That's not right either. Holy cow. You guys, it wasn't this hard. I swear it wasn't this hard. It should work. And it's not, for whatever reason. Now it's not going to let me do that either, is it? No. So I'm going to escape. Going back in. Going to try that again here. And I played with this for like an hour so I could get the recording right and not waste your time. I am so sorry. And it was so exciting when I did this because I loved this lesson way back when. And it can make for, there it goes, for some great billboards, or it does this perspective. It just creates the perspective. So I'm going to drag that up. I'm going to grab this one. And again, you tend to be able to go back and forth or up and down. And so my brother likes my Christmas gift from my mom. Good, good. Okay. And so she's a gardener, and I got her some gardening things. All right, let's pray. Let's Command V, okay, or Control V. Pasting in the image, and I'll Control T. So Control T will transform it, and I'm just going to make it a little smaller, holding Shift and dragging it down. And then as I scoot it over, okay, good. That's what it's supposed to do. And you can see how its perspective is on both planes. Now, if it doesn't do this for you, I totally get it. It was choosing one side or the other when I did it. So it would be over here and only over here, and then it would only be over here, but it wasn't, see how it makes the corner here? That's what it's supposed to do. And that's what's so cool. That's what makes it so fun. So, but then if I hit enter, it just it doesn't do anything for me. It's stupid. So I said to go to Control Z, but it's nice to know you can make a clipping mask and add that to it. So you could have type that's got clipping mask. I just wanted to show you that feature. So at this point you can delete that layer. And we're going to do the same thing here. Turn this one on, Control All or Control click on the icon, and either one does the same thing. Get you marching ants of all of it. And then Control Copy, and I'm going to copy a couple times because I noticed it was not working for me too well. Control D to deselect, turn off the visibility, target the box, Control Alt V, and we're back here in the perspective grid. And I want to, oh, because I got rid of everything. Oh, bummer. I shouldn't have deleted that. Okay, because now I got to make sure this works again. If not, I'm going back in time. Not to worry, we have our ways. Okay, holding Command down, grabbing the grid, and it's not great. It's not good, but not too bad. Okay, so it seems to be working, which recently has been a rarity. Command V, and let's just see if now my checkerboard will. Okay, great. Now let's see if it, see one side or the other, one side or the other. And what is this? What in the world? All right, so escaping that, going back in time and hoping that it still has my vanishing point before I deleted the layer. So select save there. Okay, and it's on my clipping board because I've saved it, so I can turn that off, come back here, Control Alt V, and there is no, I lost it. Darn, 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 darn. Okay. So coming about here, about here, about here. And so you can see my frustrations too. You're going to see, oh, okay, that's not too bad. It's not great. And I wish it had gone upward. That away and that away. That grid looks about, can I see this grid? Okay. I would say the grids look about the same. This one looks a little larger than that one. And you can change the grid size. So they match 140 and 140/86. Okay, so they're both matching now. I just changed the grid size. All right, I'll click on the first one, Control V to paste, or Command V if you're on the Mac. And do I even want to bother? Let's just see if it works. Okay, it's working. So now I can play. I could make things smaller by getting over and finding an end handle and Control T so that you can, make your box, your little squares even smaller if you want. I should hold Shift. Then I can drag that up. And I made it too small, so I'll Control Z that and just drag it back up when it was, oh, I guess it's, yeah, it's not remembering that I, okay, so I'm just dragging that until the corners kind of match. You see how if I pulled on that? Well, now you can't because the handle's up here where I can't see it. But I've got pretty much a full box, and that's going to be, the lid would be on that. So this has the full box. It looks good. I'm just going to hit enter, and now I'll go back and delete that layer because I can. Okay, so this one's turned off. This has got nice perspective. We're going to go on to the envelope next. And so there's all the drawing and all the directions. And oh, I still want to get the top done. So I do want to do the lid. So let me just, while I'm on this layer, Control Alt and V. And it doesn't matter if I'd done it earlier or if I waited to do it until now. So I'm going to grab the perspective tool. And I think I'll start over here. Let's see, over here, because I can kind of guesstimate better, I think, where that lid is here, here, and here. Holding my Control or Command key, I get that little grid. I'm going to pull it down. Looks pretty good. I'm going to pull this side over. Again, I've lifted my Command key. I don't like that the grid disappeared on me. There's no grid now. That's kind of weird. Okay, well, we'll find out soon enough. Holding Control down, and I'm going to pull this guy down, and I'm going to make it match in this corner over here. So these two match, and then with the with the tool that is supposed to allow me to adjust it, which of course it's not. Well, I can always erase that later. I could lasso that section and erase it. So that's probably what I'll do. I'm going to Command or Control V to paste again. And I'm just going to hope this time it works on this piece. See, it's going to be one or the other. Okay, so what I'll do is line it up so that the perspective is on here, because there's more than one way to skin this cat. All right, and then Control V again. And this time I will paste it on, get off of there. See, that one just never took. That piece never took. How about this piece over here? No, I'm making a mess. So Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, and Control Z. And I want to be on that V tool, my move tool. And I want to get rid of that and that. And I'm on here. I'm going to hold Control down. And that should drag out. Rather than correct, I can't help myself. I'm going to correct that corner, but I probably shouldn't. See, because then that grid disappeared. So Control Z, my grid's still there, and what I can do is erase more pixels this way if the grid stays. The grid stayed. Okay, so coming back to here, holding Control, grabbing down my grid, and again, I just want that front corner to match. See if I can play with this or if it's going to just disappear on me. It's just not cooperating. So I hope you have better luck. All right, I'll click on here, Command or Control V, paste again. And I'll scoot that onto the lid. Okay, so that's working beautifully. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so kind of like the way that looks. Again, I can adjust to bring that up and then scoot that direction and down. Just kind of trying to make these match up. And the corner, it actually helps to have that little piece of white there. So I think that's good. I'm going to go ahead and hit the Enter key and commit to it and close that so that we can see our fancy work. Okay. If I Command click on this box, oh, because now it's got that, so it's just going to be that wide, and I can live with that. Okay, even though that probably should have been a little narrower there. I don't think anybody's going to notice. Okay, Command D to deselect. And let's go over here. Placing artwork. We're on the last page, but there's actually quite a bit still to do. So we're going to start with the envelope, and we're going to turn on its visibility. We're going to Command click on the envelope. We're going to Control Copy or Command Copy. So it would be Control click or Command click on the icon. Control or Command D to deselect. Turn off the marching ants, target the box again, Control Alt and the V tool to get on the perspective, Control V to paste it. So it's Control Alt V to get there. And I'm going to Control T and I'm going to make this already smaller holding Shift. I've got a smaller envelope. I'm going to bring it to the front. And I'm thinking it would probably look good. Again, I don't want just right on the lines there. I want to kind of go right here and I want to bring down the top of it so it's kind of a different size envelope and right like that, and I think that's good. I'm just going to hit Enter. Envelope's on there. I want the little waxy seal, so target the layer, Control click on it, and Control D to deselect. Actually turn off the visibility icon, select the box, Control Alt, I got a kitty cat in front of my keyboard, Control Alt V, and paste, Command V to paste it. Oops, we still have envelope. Sometimes that happens. So I just hit Escape, going back and doing this again, and Control clicking on it, Control Copy, make sure it gets it. Control D, deselect over to the box. Control Alt and V for the vanishing point. Control V to paste. A lot of controls. Control T to transform this, holding Shift, dragging it in, bringing it over, holding Shift, dragging it down so it looks like a little waxy thing, hitting Enter, and it's on. So pretty cool. Turning on Rabbit and targeting Rabbit, and I'm going to do a Control All on this because he has a halo. If I just do a Command click on him and see if I you know, you can see there's a halo. So no matter what I did, I tried to get rid of that halo. It couldn't. So I'm going to Command Z that. And I'm going to do a Control Alt. I think it still does the same thing if I do that. Control Copy. Copy, copy, copy. Make sure it gets the message. Okay. Control D to deselect. Turn off the visibility. Turn on the box. Alt, Control V to get your thing back on the perspective, vanishing point perspective. Okay, Control V, a lot of controls there. Probably Rabbit could be a little smaller, so Control T, holding Shift and scooting him down, bringing him over. And I'll even let a little bit of his grass go to the other side. He's kind of got a little bit of grass right there. I'm just going to scoot him down. And I don't want to wrap really much more of him around just that grass just to kind of show off. Let's see, I guess I'll even make him bigger. Why not? And I'm going to hit enter. There he is. Oh gosh, he's cute. Okay, and most of this was off of a graphics site, but this guy was, he's copyrighted, and I'm using him for learning purposes, so I won't get into trouble, and I will never sell this because he's copyrighted and he's included in here. So none of my work will be sold. It will just be used to teach. Okay, and so Rabbit's done, envelope's done, wax is done, the watch. Target the watch, turn on the watch. It is backwards by default because, you know, that's Alice in Wonderland like, right? The clocks, and only they actually carry on counterclockwise too. All right, so control click on that or command click on it, control copy, 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 copy. Just make sure it gets the message. Control D to deselect, turn off the visibility, target your box layer again. Alt Control V. Like I said, you're going to do it a lot. That's why you didn't want to go filter, vanishing point, and have to keep doing that. I'm going to place the watch over here, or maybe on the top of the box. Let's try the top of the box. We can always move it. Control V to paste, and let's hope we got the watch. It got the message. Good. Okay, and I'm going to Control T to transform that, holding Shift, drag it down some, and probably about like that. It's right on the top of the interesting. Holding Shift and oh, I kind of like that. It's kind of cool. I used the warp, the puppet warp to, you know, as a piece of straight chain. And anyways, I used puppet warp to make that look cool. Let's see what that looks like. Well, it's interesting, but you know, I kind of like the finished look with the box just plain. So Control Z that, Control Alt V again, and Control V to paste. And the watch comes in, Control T to transform, holding Shift, transforming the watch. And I will put it over here. And that looks pretty cool. Okay, hitting enter. And you could flip the watch around if you really wanted it to read the other direction. You'd do it while you're in here though, with the Control T and then hit flip horizontal. Right click, flip horizontal. Okay, and so the watch is in. We've got this other silly rabbit here. I've got some type, and I am curious if the type were, I'm late for a very important date, target that, and could I just, I think this would work just as easy, Command T, and just line up your, see your two horizontal lines there, get those to line up just right, hold Shift, drag in a corner, and hit enter, and other Control T because it's coming off the edge over here. Bring that in just a little. Arrow keys and enter. Yeah, that works just as well. Oh, maybe that does look a little more like it's connected. Hard to say. Okay, well, late to a very important date, and then we're all mad here. Target it, target, turn it off, and that would probably work with perspective also. Let's just, I mean, just, you know, your Control T and dragging it in and scooting it until it's just lined up. And I'm going to hold Alt and Shift and drag it inward. And that's just a little side message on the envelope. We're all mad here, maybe up here. I have to drag it in a little more. Yeah, that works. It can come down here, either spot. That lines up. Okay, so perspective, although sometimes it's a little bigger and then goes down smaller, so it's hard to say if that would have looked better. And when I did this, I created it with perspective, and that's why I was curious to see if it worked without. There's also this other cartoon-like rabbit, and he came off my free web-free site, so Control All, Control Copy, 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 Control D to deselect, turn off visibility, go back to the box, and Control Alt V and Control V to paste. And this rabbit, let's see if he's, oh, see, that's kind of cool too. Rabbit, interesting. So drag him down. I want to get to a control handle and a Control T, and then I can get to a control handle. Make him smaller. Alt and Shift, and it's just not doing my, oh yeah, it's doing a little something. Okay, he's there. It just is fun. I like this. It's just kind of cool. Maybe he should be right side up. Oops. So we'll take him this direction and set him on here. And then again, Alt and Shift. Not that it's really working for me that well. Okay, and so I placed the rabbit on the top lid too. Okay, but I kind of like it without the rabbit on there, so I would Control Z that one, I think. And your box would be done. And so you could save that, you could add more type, you can add more shadows, like on this corner of the box, if I used my lasso, and I've got my polygonal lasso, and it does look like the lights coming from the other side. That's why this side's shadowed. So I would probably darken this side. I'll give it 2 clicks and it will, okay, correct. And I'll put it on a new layer and I'll just call this shadow. And then default colors, Alt backspace, fill it with black and maybe go 13%. And so that side's a little darker, maybe 23%. Sure, maybe 23%. Control D to deselect. And so you can see how the light is over here shining on this side. This one you might darken just a little too. This side's darker. You might even, to emphasize it more, even get in and adjust that to an even darker. And it can go on the same layer that I'm on. So Alt Delete and Control D. And again, it's not, I didn't line it up very well. So you'd want to do that. So I would go ahead and undo that step. But anyhow, you get the idea. There's just a lot of fun stuff you can do here in Photoshop. So I will see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed Perspective of Vanishing Point with the better way of adding perspective than just right-clicking and warping, or perspective and skewing. Much more fun. And I hope I get your other lesson done in time. All right, see you in the next video.